Now recognize Mr. Haller for 5 minutes.
Chairman Good, Ranking Member DeSaulnier, distinguished members of the subcommittee. My name is Matt Haller. I'm the president and CEO of the International Franchise Association. Today, there are more than 3,000 franchise brands and nearly 800,000 U.S. franchise locations, employing more than 8 million workers. Franchising is not an industry, nor is it a way, as some contend, to shirk responsibility for employees or avoid unionization. Rather, franchising is a business model that allows brands or franchisors to license their concepts to individual business owners or franchisees. Brands use the franchise business model to reach new markets more quickly, delivering products or services consumers desire. In doing so, franchising democratizes wealth creation by enabling individuals to build the American dream of small business ownership at the local level, not simply enriching corporations and shareholders. In franchising, we say you go into business for yourself, but not by yourself. Franchising is an opportunity for someone to join a system and learn how to be a successful small business owner. In fact, IFA research reveals 1/3 of franchisees say they would not own a business without the support of the franchise model. The use of franchising is wide and varied throughout the economy, from hotels to gyms to early childhood education and pet services. Franchising is in more than 300 industries and growing. Franchising is not big business. Franchising is small business. More than 80% of franchise owners operate a single location. And more than 50% of franchisors have fewer than 20 overall locations. Congress recognized this fact when it passed the bipartisan Paycheck Protection Program that saved tens of thousands of franchises during the pandemic, classifying franchisees as the small businesses that they are. Franchising has nearly double the rate of business ownership among minorities and higher rates of ownership by women and veterans than non-franchise businesses. Franchises offer countless opportunities for employees to become business owners. For example, more than 95% of Domino's franchisees started as part-time pizza makers or delivery drivers. In most companies, employees can't own the business, but in franchising, you can. It's the difference between working at a Starbucks and a Dunkin'. Starbucks is just one corporation, but at Dunkin', which has more than 9,000 US franchise locations, an employee often works their way up and can own their own store. Yet the NLRB's final joint employer rule threatens all of this. If you take one thing away from today, it should be this: Congress must stop the final joint employer rule to protect franchising. That is what is at stake here. We've seen this joint employer movie before, and we don't need a sequel. The last time the NLRB expanded the definition of joint employer, it cost franchises $33.3 billion per year, eliminated more than 300,000 jobs, and increased lawsuits by 93%. A survey of franchisees by Oxford Economics found an overwhelming number of franchisees fear the same consequences today. Only 14% of franchisees said they would definitively open a franchise if this rule were in effect. I commend Congress for taking swift action to address this issue, including the Save Local Business Act, sponsored by Congressman James Comer, and the bipartisan Congressional Review Act resolution, proposed by Congressman John James, which this committee reported favorably yesterday. There is a broad-based coalition of more than 70 national organizations, and the impact goes far beyond franchising, including the American Trucking Associations and the American Hotel and Lodging Association, and more than 50 state organizations, from Montana to Maine, supporting these bills. The coalition also includes people like Tamara Kennedy, who used franchising to create the American dream. Tam started at an entry-level position at a Minnesota Taco John's and went on to buy 7 restaurants. And Courtney Escalante, a McDonald's owner-operator in California, who said the joint employer rule threatens to undermine our business's success and in turn irreparably harm our team members and local communities. For those defending this rule, I challenge you to think about how you will answer the questions from your constituents about how to comply, given the inherent ambiguity in the NLRB's new definition of what constitutes control. If you ask the NLRB for examples of indirect and reserved control, they have no answers. Franchise businesses thought the Browning-Ferris standard was as bad as joint employer policy could be. Yet somehow, the NLRB has created a policy that is even worse. The bottom line is Congress has a choice to make. Allow the NLRB to continue with its final rule that would upend franchising as we know it, or step in and preserve all the good that franchising has created for so many. Thank you again for the opportunity to testify. I look forward to the discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Haller.